So this week, we're really going to throw out the box scores.
Yeah, go a little deeper.
We're diving into the high-octane dynamics that are actually defining the NBA right now. We're looking past the highlights to understand the blueprint for longevity, the chaos of courtside power plays.
And, of course, the critical injuries that are about to decide the fate of a few key franchises.
Right. And our sources for this deep dive, they pull from some of the most recent in-depth NBA analysis, some insider reports.
It gives us this rare look at the intersection where, superhuman athletic commitment just smashes right into these cutthroat, multi-million-dollar business deals.
So our mission for you is to walk away with the essential knowledge. Not just what happened, but, why it all matters.
Exactly. We need to decode the regimen behind LeBron James's insane run at 41 years old.
We're going to analyze that public agent power struggle that took center stage in LA, and then really grasp the immediate implications of these major injury updates.
Okay, let's unpack this.
We have to.
Yeah.
And we have to start with a moment that felt less like a basketball game and, more like a time warp.
Yeah, LeBron James just defying every known law of aging.
Gets grilled.
We need some context first, though, right?
Yeah.
Because coming into that game against the Hawks, the Lakers were spiraling. They had just suffered a genuinely bad loss in Sacramento.
It was their third straight defeat, 7th loss in 11 games. And they lost to a team that was, 9-30 at the time?
Exactly. Team morale just felt like it was at rock bottom.
And what's fascinating is the source material highlighted this emotional intervention that happened right before the win.
Right. JJ Redick reportedly gathered the team for a pregame meeting.
And the topic wasn't X's and O's. It was about pride and finding the joy in playing basketball together again.
And that emotional spark, it really led to what was maybe their most dominant performance of the whole season.
They didn't just win. They completely blew the doors off the Hawks. They were up 81-60 by halftime.
Yeah, and they extended that lead to 32 points before it was all over. It was a complete 180.
And right at the center of it all was LeBron. A vintage performance in his first back-to-back game of the season.
At 41 years old?
At 41.
Yeah.
He finished with 31 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. But the stats almost don't even do it justice.
No, the eye test was crazy. We saw the vintage windmill dunk. We saw clips of him just outrunning guys half his age.
We really cannot gloss over how huge this is.
No.
To be in your 23rd season and still be asked to play a back-to-back and then deliver a line like that, it's more than just basketball.
It's a genuine anomaly in sports history. The question isn't just how he does it, it's what is the actual blueprint?
Well, he gives us a quote that kind of speaks to the mental side of it. He said he would never disrespect the basketball gods.
Right, so I put the time and the effort and the commitment in it mentally, physically, spiritually.
It sounds kind of high-minded, but then the sources pull back the curtain on the actual granular commitment that it takes.
And that's the key. It's the sheer, uncompromising rigor of his day-to-day routine that is the true blueprint. And frankly, it's financially and physically inaccessible to, 99% of the league.
Exactly. I looked at this routine and just felt exhausted reading it. He gets back from the flight in Sacramento, and Tuesday morning is not for relaxing.
Not at all.
It starts with the cold tub, then it moves to the hyperbaric chamber, then a nap. And that's just the pre-noon recovery.
And then 45 minutes of Normatec. Those are the intense compression sleeves on his legs before he even gets to the arena.
And once he's there, it's a marathon of activation, stretching, rehab, lifting, and then the pregame meal.
It's only after all of that he looks at his longtime trainer, Mike Mankis, gives a nod, and says, I think this is the time we're going to do it.
So that decision to play the back-to-back wasn't casual at all. It was the final go-ahead after an 18-hour physical prep process.
It really raises an important question for you, the listener. Is this a universal blueprint for longevity, or is it just the optimal result of being able to afford a physical regimen that costs millions of dollars a year?
That is a crucial distinction.
We call it a blueprint, but maybe it's more accurate to call it peak optimization for the ultra-wealthy athlete.
It underscores that performance at this level is as much about capital and access to tech as it is about talent.
Right. But that game also showed something simpler.
The passing.
The passing, yeah. Improved ball movement, which reflected an ultimate level of trust that had just been missing.
That trust is critical, but that trust quickly evaporated courtside because with the Lakers, the business drama is never too far behind a victory.
Which brings us to our next segment. The fascinating, intensely public, and very awkward agent drama that unfolded right there on the hardwood.
This all centers on Rich Paul, the CEO of Clutch Sports.
He is, of course, LeBron's agent, but he's also one of the agents representing Austin Reeves.
Right, the Lakers' young guard. And Paul recently went on a podcast and publicly suggested that the Lakers needed an upgrade.
And that they should look at trading Austin Reeves in what he called an unemotional move.
He even floated a specific mock trade, Reeves for Jaren Jackson Jr.
Which is just, the conflict of interest there is staggering.
It's immense.
This isn't a rival agent. This is Reeves' own representative, one of them, publicly dangling him as trade bait.
And Reeves is having a breakout year. He's heading towards a massive contract this summer, potentially $250 million.
And Paul is essentially using him as currency to improve his primary superstar client's team.
And this is where it all boiled over.
Yeah.
Because Reeves, critically, has two other agents.
Reggie Berry and Aaron Riley.
And Reggie Berry saw the podcast, and according to sources, he flew immediately from the East Coast out to LA, specifically to suss stuff out.
To assess the damage, basically.
Exactly, which led to this confrontation at the game. At halftime, Rich Paul was reportedly holding court near the center of the court.
And Reggie Berry walks right up to him.
And they get into what's described as a passionate exchange that lasted over 5 minutes, arguing about Paul's public comments.
I mean, that is a high-stakes, real-time negotiation of loyalty versus leverage happening in front of dozens of people.
And when Rich Paul speaks on NBA media, even if he says it's his personal opinion, the perception is instant.
Oh, yeah. Everyone thinks this is the voice of LeBron James's camp trying to manipulate the roster.
It creates an almost untenable situation for Reeves' other agents. How do you advise your client protect his $250 million valuation?
When your co-agent is actively tanking his value to help out the bigger client, it's a nightmare.
It perfectly illustrates the ethical tightrope in modern sports agency.
Of course, LeBron was asked about it later.
And he very quickly drew a clear line. He said, Rich is his own man. He doesn't speak for him.
He said, grown men can say whatever the bleep they want. And then he doubled down on his relationship with Reeves.
Right, emphasizing their daily talks, their interactions on the bench, all of that.
And that public denial was essential, for the locker room culture. But analysts agree.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what LeBron says. Paul's comments send a clear signal to the rest of the league. Austin Reeves is available. It's a wild public display of internal politics.
Okay, speaking of high-stakes business, that transitions us directly into the key injuries that are shifting the roster sands and really impacting trade value.
For sure. But before we get into the injuries, we have to mention this quick nugget of rookie gold.
Oh, Cooper Flagg. He is absolutely dominating.
He's leading the Dallas Mavericks in points, rebounds, assists, and steals this season.
And the historical parallel they're drawing is just... it's kind of jaw-dropping.
It is.
The last rookie to lead his team in those 4 categories over a full season.
Michael
Jeffrey Jordan. That's the company he's in. A tremendous talent marker.
Huge potential, which makes the uncertainty around another superstar injury so critical. We have a significant update on Anthony Davis.
Right. So the good news first. AD will be avoiding surgery on his hand, which is always a massive sigh of relief.
Always. But the bad news is he's out at least 6 weeks, and likely longer.
That takes him out of a huge chunk of this crucial midseason push. The ripple effects are going to be big.
Well, looking at the bigger picture for the Mavericks, they're 10 games under .500. They're 12th in the West. His season is essentially through.
So they're focused on jockeying for lottery position.
Yeah.
They don't control their first-round pick until 2031, which makes this draft really important.
Exactly. And now, analysts are noting renewed trade conversations around AD, even after the injury news.
Why now?
Because teams like Atlanta and Toronto are desperate for a star, and they might see this as a temporary low point to jump in.
So his value is lower now than it was a month ago.
Exactly. It's a classic high-risk, high-reward scenario for a potential suitor.
Okay. Let's pivot to the Denver Nuggets, who got some overwhelmingly positive news about Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, a huge sigh of relief for Denver. He has resumed on-court workouts.
So he's on track, maybe even a little ahead of schedule, for a return by late January. That fits the initial 4-week timetable.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though.
The timing.
The timing. That return date is not random. It's dictated by the calendar. Returning by late January gives him the window he needs to be eligible for postseason awards.
We're talking MVP, All-NBA team selection.
Exactly. His legacy is on the line, and that timeline is critical for his historic trajectory.
Absolutely. The timing is business as much as it is physical recovery. And while Jokic has been out, We've seen the incredible ascent of Jamal Murray.
He is averaging career highs in points and assists this season. His numbers are just screaming all-star.
He recently tallied his 7th game this season with 30 points and 5 assists.
Which, to put that in perspective, he only did that 8 times total last year.
Wow.
He has clearly taken a massive step forward. He's a consistent first option now.
Finally, let's look at the East with Trae Young, the newest star on the Washington Wizards. He's recovering from a combo of MCL and quad injuries on the same leg.
Yeah, and the word from Washington is that they are taking a very cautious approach.
Which makes sense given where they are in the standings.
Right. The emphasis is on a full recovery, not a rushed return. He'll be reevaluated after the All-Star break in mid-February, which is still about a month away.
And that cautious timetable has huge implications for how Washington manages their rotation and their draft assets over the next few weeks.
That looks so mean.
We've covered a massive range of dynamics here, and what we've learned is that this NBA season is being defined simultaneously by the absolute peak of physical preparation.
The cold tubs, the hyperbaric chambers that let LeBron defy time.
And by the incredibly complex, high-stakes business dealings of the agents.
And that complexity was just perfectly epitomized by that public conflict between Rich Paul and Austin Reeves' other reps. It shows how personal loyalty and corporate leverage just slam into each other.
All these factors, superhuman performance, trade manipulation, calculated injury returns, they are the true detailed blueprints for how professional sports operate at this level.
The information we've synthesized today really gives you the key indicators for team direction and a player's legacy way beyond what you're going to see on the scoreboard.
And we'll leave you with this provocative thought to mull over.
Given the public conflict and the clear ethical line that LeBron tried to draw in the sand, how much independent professional agency does an agent truly have over their non-superstar clients?
When their primary client is the ultimate power source on that team. Keep that in mind as the trade deadline gets closer.